Welcome back. All right. We are going to discuss the Philadelphia Flyers as the season previews roll along. The Philadelphia Flyers, no expectations. None. The Philadelphia Flyers are expected to miss the playoffs. They're expected to not be very good. The interesting thing is they did add Zegras up front. They've added Tocchet as the head coach. I think there's more reason to watch this team this year than some people might be giving them credit for. That being said, do I think they're going to be a lot better? Probably not. Are they a playoff team? No, not in the East. But could they make things interesting? Maybe. Looking at this top six, there's reasons to think things could get interesting, including what if Michkov plays with Zegras? That could be a lot of fun. They're both very creative forwards. Might it be a nightmare defensively, the two of them together? It might be. It will be interesting to see if Zegras and Drysdale are on the ice together. And Drysdale, I know, is a defenseman, but Zegras and Drysdale are close off the ice. They're very excited to get to play together again. They played together in Anaheim, so we'll see. But the top six, Michkov, Couturier, and Konechny, likely the first line there. The first thing that stands out to me with the Flyers is while they're 1 through 4 down the middle isn't bad, they don't have anybody that I look at and say that's a true number one center. Couturier at this point in time in his career probably better suited to being a number 2 center, and with some teams I think he'd be a number 3. Then you've got Forrester, Zegras, and Tippett. It will be interesting to see if Forrester takes a big step offensively if he's playing with Zegras. And then Owen Tippett. Tippett's enjoying himself in Philly. So there should be more goals, I think, out of this team this year. There should be. The bottom six will be interesting. Now, I've got Bump on the board because the last time I talked about Philly, Bump was not on the board. And honestly, if you go and you look at the depth chart on Puckpedia, he's not listed anywhere near the roster. He's at the very bottom of the forwards. But since he's expected to end up on the team, I've got him in green right here. So people do not have to come after me in the comments. But they've got Abels in the bottom six. I don't know if Abels necessarily gets in there. That's where I guess Bump would get in. Cates and Brink. Bobby Brink is due for a big season. Delorier, Dvorak, and Hathaway. I'd be very surprised if, with the amount of money they're giving Dvorak, he ends up on the fourth line. Which tells me maybe one of these guys they've got listed as a forward ends up on the wing, and Dvorak moves up. I think with the money they're giving him, he's at least a third line center. So maybe Cates is on the wing. And you bring Dvorak up to that third line maybe, and you have Cates on the wing, and Abels drops down. But the ones in green, the extras, you've got Bump, you've got Richard, Kaplan, Grabenkin. So he had some games for Toronto last year. So we'll see if he gets into some games for Philadelphia. Dorwart, Gauthier, Luchenko. Luchenko wants to make this team, and he could make things difficult in training camp as well. Peterson, Tuamala, Barkey, Gendra, and Eklund also on this depth chart. So the forward group I think is honestly interesting. There's enough here that I think if Philadelphia gets off to a good start to the season, they could surprise people. But is the blue line going to hold up? I think there's a valid question to be asked there. And then we'll get to the goaltending. We will get to the goaltending. Sealer and Sanheim, pretty beloved by Philadelphia fans. York, Drysdale, that's a good top 4 if Drysdale does have a really solid season, stays healthy, and especially if he enjoys playing with Zegras. Who knows? Maybe they get that chemistry together. Zamula and Ristolainen rounding out the 6 defensemen. It is fascinating to me Ristolainen's still here. How many years have we heard rumors about maybe Ristolainen's going to be on the market? It feels like it's been years. But he's still there. Gilbert Juleson has moved over to Philadelphia from Vancouver. We do know from Vancouver that Tocchet plays Juleson. So do not be surprised if Noah Juleson finds his way into the lineup. If they go 11-7 maybe to get him in there. Andre, who I thought looked good, but he may very well end up down with the Phantoms this year. Bonk probably needs some time with the Phantoms. Grons. And Helge Grons is one of the best names in hockey, and I'm sad that I don't think he's had a game in the NHL yet. Just Helge Grons needs at least, for the name Helge Grons, he needs at least a game. Ginning, McDonald, and Sampson. So I do like the depth on the blue line. I do wonder if they have a true number 1 defenseman. That is absolutely valid. So if you look at this team, there's some interesting pieces, but Do they have a true number one center? I think is a valid question. Do they have a true number one defenseman? I think that's a valid question as well. They have some good 2, 3, or 4 defensemen. I don't know that they have a really true number one defenseman. Now, looking at their goaltending, they added Dan Vladar. Now, Vladar's numbers out of Calgary weren't fantastic, but the advanced stats tell you he had an okay season, which is a heck of a lot better than what Philadelphia's had in net this past year. Ersson was the best of a bad bunch. Fedotov, I remember he had that one really good game against Tampa, and then he couldn't follow it up. And I mean, I've been rooting for Fedotov and hoping that he'll really get it going, but it just hasn't worked. And Kolosov, there were rumors last year that if he wasn't up at the NHL level and getting an opportunity, that he could go back over to the KHL. I would not be surprised to see Kolosov end up going back over to the KHL at some point, because I don't think there's room here, and I think what we saw from him this past season, he's not really at that level where you want an NHL goaltender to be. I think both Fedotov and Kolosov, neither of them have worked out. We'll see if that changes Philadelphia's opinions on Russian goaltenders just for themselves. Maybe they just have bad luck. But those goaltenders both have contracts for this year. We'll see where they end up playing. Now, the MVP, I think for this team to get anywhere near playoffs or at least be surprisingly good, Michkov has to be the main guy. And it's likely he's going to be the one running the line. Almost, I don't think it matters who's playing center here. You'll give Zegras a look as the first-line center in the preseason, I think. And you'll play him with Michkov just to see how it's going to look. But Michkov has to be the MVP. And for the one to watch, I had to put Zegras. I had to. Who else am I going to pick other than Zegras? Clearly, Trevor Zegras is the player that they're going to be keeping an eye on, and that we as fans are going to be keeping an eye on, because we know what Zegras can do. We've seen that during his time in Anaheim. We just haven't seen as much offensive finishing from him over the last couple seasons as we'd like. And I know health's been part of it and everything else, and just bad luck too. Cap space, nope, $370,238. So the Philadelphia Flyers do not at this point in time have cap space. We'll see if they do anything between now and the start of the season to create cap space, but since they're not expecting playoffs anyways, they're still in a rebuild. I don't think there's any reason to necessarily expect a trade, which doesn't mean that it does not happen. Now, the schedule is interesting when it comes to Philadelphia. They're going to be busy. In October, 7 out of 10 games are at home. In November, they're playing more on the road than at home. 8 out of 14 are away from home. So with 7 out of their first 10 at home, they could build up a strong record, get a bunch of people talking, and then the wheels fall off in November. That could happen. They could be one of those teams that has a good start and then don't follow it up. December, 8 out of 15 are away from home. January, 8 out of 15 are away from home as well. So that's 16 out of 30 away from home, and that's 16 out of 30 in December and January. Busy, busy time. February, 3 out of 5 are at home, and then they have 15 games again in March. 8 of those are on the road as well. So 15 games in 3 different months and 14 in 1 month. April, 4 out of 8 are at home. So 4 and 4 between home and away. It is a very busy schedule for the Philadelphia Flyers, as it is a very busy schedule for a lot of teams. I believe it's Vegas that has 2 16-game months. And then there's some that have like 1 15-game month, and everything else is pretty well evenly distributed. But every schedule is going to have its own share of challenges this year. So the channel vote, 2% voted wrong. They voted first or second for Philly. I can't say anybody sniffed glue before they voted, but maybe. And then there's obviously the troll vote as well. 7%, third or fourth in the division. I admire the optimism. 40%, fifth or sixth, which is, I think, fair. I could see Philadelphia being a bit of a surprise, and I could see sixth maybe. 51% for seventh or eighth. And always when I say that, people are like, but which teams are they going to pass? I'm just saying, I could see them being sixth. I don't know which teams they pass. But with a good season, and if other teams falter, I could see them being as high as sixth in the division, which for Philadelphia fans, I think they want that number 1 draft pick. So we'll see how things turn out for them. General Manager Danny Briere, I think, has done a very good job of managing expectations throughout this rebuild. And so there's no real heat on him at this point. And, of course, Rick Tocchet's taking over behind the bench. So no heat on a brand new coach. That's just not how that works. Since 2021-2022, they've been 27th in the league in terms of record. 127 wins, 156 regulation losses, 45 losses via overtime or shootout. Their top 5 scorers over that last 4 seasons: Konechny, 297 games, 104 goals, 153 assists for 257 points. Owen Tippett, 253 games, 79 goals, 73 assists for 152 points. Farabee, who of course is gone, 277 games, 62 goals, 80 assists, 142 points. Lawton's gone as well. 287 games, 53 goals, 86 assists, 139 points. And Morgan Frost, also gone. Went with Farabee to Calgary. 256 games, 48 goals, 80 assists for 128 points. Top unsigned prospects at this point in time: Porter Martone, who I think is going to be beloved by the Philadelphia Flyers fans. Just in reading his profile before he was drafted, I was like, this guy would be very popular in Philly, according to how his game projects. Jack Nesbitt was a first-round draft pick as well. So we'll see where they fit in when it's their time, and it's not their time as of yet. Their scoring leaders this past season, a season which saw them go 33, 39, and 10, so not quite 500. Konechny, 82 games, 24 goals, 52 assists for 76 points. Michkov, 80 games, 26 goals, 37 assists for 63 points. Couturier, 79 games, 15 goals, 30 assists for 45 points. Forrester, 81 games, 25 goals, 18 assists for 43 points. And Tippett, 77 games, 20 goals, 23 assists for 43 points. Tippett can produce more. Forrester can produce more. Michkov will produce more. I'll go that far. Couturier, I'm not sure. I think 45 points is probably around where he ends up again. But if he's playing with Konechny and Michkov, he may get some points just by being on the same line as those guys. He may get secondary assists. He may get primaries. Maybe they'll be exactly where they need to be. They'll be tip-in goals. And maybe Couturier can end up with about 50 assists this year. We'll see how it turns out for him. The goaltending, as I previously mentioned, problems here. Ersson, 22, 17, and 5 with an 883 save percentage. So 883 is not great. But Fedotov went 6, 13, and 4 with an 880 save percentage. And Kolosov, 5, 9, and 1 with an 867 save percentage. I'm kind of surprised he won 5 games with an 867 save percentage, considering that the Flyers don't score a ton of goals, but somehow they got that done. Playoffs, nope. They have not been in the playoffs since 2020. So, and it's weird because at the time of the pause in March of 2020, it looked like this was a pretty darn good team, and then they haven't been good since then. That was it. I jinxed them. That was it. They were number 1 on the power rankings going into the pause, and they've been trash ever since. I would like to apologize to Flyers fans everywhere, because we know that I have powers, right? I just don't talk about it. Now, silliness aside, their power play this past season was bad at 15%, 30th, but still better than it was the year before. Their penalty kill, 20th at 77.6%, so that's better than their power play. Their goals for, 24th in the league at 2.83 goals per game. I think that'll go up. I think that's why they went out and got Zegras. They believe he can get his offense back. Goals against, 28th at 3.45. They're hoping that Vladar solidifies things between the pipes. And I would think that Ersson ends up being the backup. And then you just take Fedotov and Kolosov and send them down to the minors. I really think that's what they're going to end up doing. And it'll be interesting to see how things progress from there. Because as I said, Kolosov last year had it basically said to him, hey, if you're not happy with where you're at second half of the season, if you want to go back home, you can. So it will be interesting to see. And it took a while for him to come over and play as well. So there will probably be some drama around this team at some point this season. There is for a lot of teams, though. But the reality is this is a team that's still firmly in the rebuild process. When they're picking up players, it seems like they're trying to pick up younger guys or veterans on short-term contracts so they have maximum flexibility down the road, even though right now, cap space, they are tight. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Are we all underestimating the Philadelphia Flyers? Hit like and subscribe in the event you may not have done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support. It's greatly appreciated. I will talk to you again soon.